Hey, this is Jeff Risdon, the managing editor here at Lions Wire. I wanted to give a little bit of a reaction to the Quandre Diggs news today and also the Kerryon Johnson news today. Kerryon, we'll get to that in a bit. I want to do the Quandre Diggs part first because this one, well, it hurts, guys. Quandre was one of my favorite Lions, not just like of the current team, but of a long, long time. Loved Q Diggs, fantastic player. Was a guy that I personally championed in the draft process, so I was happy to see that he proved me to be somewhat prescient there. It hurts to see him go. And getting just a fifth-round pick for a guy who's a starter who made the Pro Bowl last year as an alternate doesn't seem like a lot of positive return on investment there. I'm racking my brain trying to figure out what the motivation for this is. And I tried to look at it from the Seattle side of things, and Seattle's obviously getting a great player in Quandre Diggs. It's interesting that they both were interested and knew that he would be available. And it kind of leads me to believe that maybe the Lions aren't as high on Diggs or weren't as high on Diggs as we all thought they were, and as we think they should be. He's been a great player. I've said it many times. He is the best tackler on the team. I've said many times he's pound for pound, one of the best tacklers in the NFL. But he's been hurt this year. He has missed some time. Will Harris, as a rookie, has played all right. Probably a little bit. He's certainly faster than Diggs. Probably has a little bit more coverage gumption and upside there. And Tavon Wilson can tackle. That's what he does. So it hurts the defense, definitely. It hurts personally because, again, Diggs, I'm going to miss you, man. I really am. Great player, great teammate, team captain, guy that teammates loved. Teammates looked to him to speak for them, was a leader in the locker room. It is different than Golden Tate a year ago because we kind of knew that Golden Tate wasn't going to be coming back. And this is a case, Diggs was still under contract. He's got another year, 2 years on his contract. Let me pull it up real fast for reference so I don't get it wrong. He signed for, it's going to be $5 million next year, $5.35 million in salary in 2021. So they are saving a little bit of money on that. It's cap hits were 5.2, 5.5 million. That's what you pay. That's what you pay for a good safety. So I don't think it's a money saving. I don't think they're ditching, slashing payroll or anything like that. The only thing I can think of for their motivation is that they don't feel that they're getting enough value for him now, and they think that Seattle's offer is the best that they can get. I disagree with that. I think that they could have gotten more for Quandre Diggs had they made it out there that, hey, instead of just, maybe having Darrell Bevell call Pete Carroll or vice versa and ask about him, maybe you put out there. The Chicago Bears could certainly use him, not that you want to trade in the division. The Cleveland Browns could certainly use him. The Tennessee Titans could probably use him, even though they have a decent secondary. The Houston Texans, another team near and dear to my heart, could certainly use Quandre Diggs and probably have more value than the fifth-round pick that they're getting. Not that Houston has that anymore because they've made all those trades. The Oakland Raiders could have used him. A lot of teams could have used him, and I think they could have gotten more for him than what they did. Based on what the Broncos got for Emmanuel Sanders, which was I believe was a fourth and a fifth. I don't have that deal in front of me. Diggs as a safety is as good as Emmanuel Sanders is at wide receiver. I would have liked to have seen equivalent compensation at least for that, and we didn't get it. That's frustrating. It's frustrating as a Lions fan because a week and a half ago, everybody thought that this team was going to be buying and making a playoff push. And now you've lost your Pro Bowl alternate safety and one of the good guys, one of your locker room leaders. Now let's go to offense. Kerryon Johnson's on injured reserve. That's your starting running back. Now, he had not been good this year. And for those of you who have heard me talk about it on Big Drew and Jim and on the Sunday morning show that I do with Jim Costa on ESPN 96.1 in Grand Rapids, Kerryon's not played well this year. And I think some of it probably was the fact that his knee was not right from last year when he missed the final 6 games. He's not going to be back this year, first off. He had surgery today. There's not going to be a need to bring him back in Week 16, Week 17, even though he will be eligible. Forget about that. Kerryon's done for the year. The longer-term picture with Kerryon is he's got a massive laundry list. We'll have the link on Lions Wire. Wrote about it this morning. going back to 2014, 2013 when he was in high school, dude gets hurt every year. He's been fortunate in the timing of his injuries that he hasn't missed games, but he gets hurt a lot. This is his third knee. He's had 2 shoulders. He's had foot problems. He's had hamstring problems. He broke a thumb. Obviously, broken bones don't count in the litany of the soft tissue injuries. But for a 22-year-old guy to be that brittle, you're not giving Kerryon the ball 20 times a game anymore. They weren't doing that anyways because they had worries about his durability. Now you know why. And even nursing him the way that they did, they still couldn't keep him healthy. So now you're looking, you got to get a new running back into town. It's not worth giving up Kerryon long term. He'll be back next year. He'll be back in 2019, or 2020 rather, in 2021. But it underscores to you the fact that he just wasn't the long-term bell cow back that I think a lot of people wanted him to be. And that's very disappointing because he's a likable guy, a good dude. A guy that teammates like, a guy that fans like, a guy that reporters like me, we like to talk to Kerryon. He's a good guy. It's frustrating. You're going to see a lot of Ty Johnson. You're going to see a little bit more of J.D. McKissick. It sure sounds like, and I don't have the latest on this, it sure sounds like Kenyon Drake is coming to Detroit. Don't hold me to that, but I've heard from a lot of people that it's going to happen, and by the time this video posts, he could very well be here. Zach Zenner is not coming back. I will be pretty positive about that, too. Based on what I heard from New Orleans and what he has talked about since he left the Lions, there's no bad feelings on it. I just think that he realizes that ship has sort of sailed, and I think the Lions sort of told him that when they let him go a little bit early there. Remember, he didn't make it to the final cuts, in part because they wanted him to get another job elsewhere where he could seek it. He didn't get that until last week. That sort of tells you where the league demand is on Zach Zenner. I know people love him. Look, Derry Sanders, great dude. He's had a lot of chances in Detroit to prove himself. I think that ship has sailed. So you're looking at Kenyon Drake. People have talked about Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon has been awful this year since he came back. He fumbled at the goal line 2 plays in a row. If you didn't see that, that's what happened. That's how the Chargers lost last week. He's been significantly worse than the guy who took his place, Austin Eckler, and he still wants money, and he's still on an expiring contract. No, I really don't see that happening at all. Now, maybe Bob Quinn pulls a rabbit out of a hat and shocks me, and this whole thing is like, okay, we're getting the 5th-round pick from Diggs from Seattle, so we can send it to the Chargers for Gordon. Knowing my luck with predicting things, that's what's going to happen. I don't see that happening, and I haven't heard anything to that extent at this point, but I suppose you can't probably realistically throw that out. The running game was not working in Detroit with Kerryon. It's hard to see it working without him, although I will say this, Ty Johnson is faster and faster through the hole, and if you've watched Kerryon this year, you know he hasn't really found the hole all that well, and he hasn't been as explosive getting through it as he has been in the past. Maybe that was lingering knee injury, maybe he was trying to protect himself, I don't know. Just wasn't working for him in that second year. It's not good. My solution, throw the ball more. You got Matthew Stafford having the best year of his career. You've got wide receivers who are healthy. It looks like Marvin Hall might be able to contribute. It looks like TJ Hawkinson is back healthy and ready to contribute as a tight end. Maybe start throwing the ball more again. I know that sacrilege to a lot of Lions fans that, were like, oh, we got to get a run game. We got to get a run game. You're not wrong, but you win by throwing the football in the NFL these days. So I don't expect a dramatic move on the running back front. Don't hold me to that because they've proved me wrong before. But, man, the Diggs thing, it bugs me, man. It's hard to be a fan sometimes when you do this job because I genuinely like Quandre Diggs. I've never had anything but positive interactions with him. He's been a good dude. I wish him very well in Seattle. I hope that he gets the success that he deserves there. He should be on a playoff team. They should get a playoff run out of this. He fills a big hole for them. So in that sense, I'm happy for Diggs. Go get him, Nino. I'm very happy for you, and thank you for your time in Detroit. We appreciated every minute of it. Sure feels like it's going into the towel, doesn't it, guys? I kind of thought that they were going to be sellers. I said that on Drew and Jim just before the trade happened. I said it in if you're a member of the Detroit Lions podcast Slack chat, which I encourage you to do, go to Detroit Lions podcast and check it out. We talk there all the time about this. If you do the little Patreon thing, you get into a Slack chat, which gives a lot of very good talk. brought it up in there that they were going to be sellers. What's next? Who's next is the question that everybody wants to know. I will say this, and I will say it, and you must listen to the context here, because if you take this out of context, you're going to go crazy. They are going to get calls for Darius Slay. That does not mean that Bob Quinn is calling people saying, hey, what do you want to give me for Darius Slay? Other teams are going to call for Darius Slay. Philadelphia, I can guarantee you, is going to call, if they haven't called already, hey, Bob, what do you want for Darius Slay? That does not mean they're shopping him. That does not mean they're moving him. That does not mean they're looking to move him. But they're stupid if they don't listen. And he is the most marketable piece on this team right now. Oh, by the way, he's not having his best year either. Not saying, I'm just saying that if there's going to be another domino that falls, if it's a big one, I would expect it to be Slay. Taylor Decker is a possibility, though my general impression from being in Allen Park, as infrequently as I am, is that the team likes Taylor Decker a lot more than you, the fans, do. And I know the offensive line coach loves him. And I think I'd be very surprised and incredibly disappointed at that one. The other name to watch is A'Shawn Robinson. If guys like Hand and Daniels are coming back healthy, that cuts down A'Shawn Robinson's time. He is a free agent at the end of the year. Without saying it, I will say it. There's a very good chance that he will find greener pastures elsewhere and would probably want to look for those greener pastures elsewhere. So that's probably the name to look. That's the situation that Golden Tate was in a year ago. They knew that they weren't going to be able. They knew that they weren't going to meet his salary demands as a free agent, and they're like, okay, we might as well get something for him now. And they did. And by the way, the person that they got is now their new starting safety in Will Harris. See how that works out. I'm not optimistic about that. As you guys know, people who've read my stuff and who've watched my stuff, I'm not a big Will Harris fan. He has played well, though. He's at least fast. From what I gather, he's a quick learner. From what I saw from the beginning of camp to the end of preseason, I saw some progress there. He has not looked like a fish out of water when he has played. So maybe they're seeing the emergence of Will Harris as a guy who can do what Quandre Diggs could do. And if it happens, that's fantastic. I'd be very happy about that. But the context of doing it when they did, with the 2-game losing streak, the way that they've lost, with the defense playing so god-awful, and not filling a need that you have right now, this team needs a pass rush. They need depth at slot receiver. They clearly need a running back. They need depth on the offensive line and on the interior offensive line. I'm sorry, man. I do not approve of trading Quandre Diggs for anything at this point. I think they probably could have gotten more had they held on to him to the end of the season and wait for draft time. And I think we probably would have been a little bit more palatable for that as fans and as reporters as well. So, tough day. Go get him Quandre Diggs. Please don't burn your Quandre Diggs jerseys. Wear them in honor. The guy was a great Lion, and remember him that way. And thanks.